Welcome, everybody, to Radio Media's #1 late night show, World at War. That's right. I am your late night host, Ian Ryan, and I am back for now, because I have been on a summer hiatus that will continue, but on a different slate that I'll share with you a little later tonight, because tonight we have a very big show, and I wanted to make sure it was a big show for this incredibly huge audience and very effective at that, because tonight's episode is called War Games. War Games. Okay, let's get started because I don't want to waste any more of your time before the algorithms get to us. Can I say that? I just did. Well, anyways, let's start with some real headlines because we have this one right in the frying pan, as they say. Well, now get this. China and Russia sent huge naval flotillas towards Alaska just over the weekend, and now they say U.S. responds by dispatching destroyers. Well, here's a little quote from a U.S. defense official who is, yes, that's right, familiar with the matter. Well, he said, quote, the ships which never entered U.S. territorial waters will have left since. Well, they were shadowed by 4 U.S. destroyers and a P-8 Poseidon aircraft, and we can also assume a water heater from the garage that they used to try to find the Titanic or something down there. Well, that's indeed true. This coming out of Zero Hedge is a large joint Russia-China military exercise, which is being described as unprecedented in its size, has sparked alarm in the Pentagon, given it took place off Alaska, causing the U.S. to dispatch 4 Navy warships and aerial assets in the same waters, and very rare move itself of significant size. Yes. I mean, who's to say? Maybe just Russia wanted to go to Alaska because this is the best time of the year. Just to be diplomatic, well, the drills by Washington's most powerful nuclear-armed rivals was called in the Wall Street Journal the largest such flotilla to approach American shores in recent histories, and that's saying a lot. Well, how concerning is it, you might ask? Well, let's see how the lamestream Urine Soaked Meat is presenting it, and maybe we'll have a change of heart and our lives will change for the better. Well, here it is. Check it out, and we'll discuss after.
Dozen Russian and Chinese warships were spotted patrolling nearby international waters, very nearby.
Alaska Senator Dan Sullivan called the size of the Chinese and Russian joint operation unprecedented. He says the U.S. deployed 4 Navy destroyer ships near the Aleutian Islands in response to those 11 Chinese and Russian warships near U.S. waters. The U.S. Northern Command says the Chinese and Russian patrol remained in international waters and wasn't considered a threat. But the show of force is a reminder of the cooperation of Chinese and Russian militaries, as well as how close the countries are to Alaska. A similar joint exercise took place last year in September. The U.S. Coast Guard encountered 7 Chinese and Russian ships near Alaska, all in a single formation. Now, China and Russia have increased their ties amid tensions with the U.S. over Taiwan and Ukraine, making situations like this more alarming.
Very alarming. Thank you for that report, Junior Cadet there over at CBS. Well, continuing here with the real headlines, as the alarmingness, the ships continue in the flotilla ways, well, there's someone else that says, hey, we want to play too. We're people. But we're not just any people, we're the CCP. That's right, the CCP, as this kind of takes us now to the CCP, who won't let me be. Well, let me tell you a bit more about it. Well, the CCP, get this, was planning to launch a pathogen from illegal California biolabs, says China expert. I didn't even know there was China experts out there just walking around for no reason. Well, Gordon Chang, who's the Chinese expert, says presence of mice genetically engineered to spread viral pathogens at the secret biolab facility amounts to active war against America by the Chinese Communist Party. You're damn straight. They tried to get the bubonic plague reignited back in 2020. If you recall, over there in downtown LA, there was a rat infestation and a kind of a flea issue. So far, nobody got the mange, to my knowledge. Well, the Communist Chinese Party, the CCP, who won't let me be, was likely planning to release pathogens, they say, from the illegal makeshift biolabs that were somewhere underneath the crawl space of, Gavin Newsom, for that fact. Well, Chang, who's also an author, and in case you didn't know, well, he said that the great U.S.-China tech war is now underway. Explained that hundreds of genetically engineered mice discovered with dozens of infectious agents at the warehouse in Redley, California. Well, last week means China's readying a deliberate bioweapon attack on U.S. soil. And why would they waste their time when they're just, we're just doing a good job of subverting ourselves and killing ourselves, they're saying. Well, the other thing in closing that they found with nearly 1,000 mice, well, 175 of them were dead that had been genetically engineered to transmit disease. The expert of China, Chang, said. Well, so the only conclusion that fits the facts, they say, is that China was preparing to launch pathogens from this lab, and I'm sure there must be others around the United States as well. Oh, please, this sounds like a conspiracy theory. I won't have anything of it. Not one thing, but look, if they have the biolabs in Ukraine, you better bet your bottom dollar they have it in Los Angeles. Continuing with the CCP, who's now spying on me when they're not letting me be. Well, here's another just weird story that is now coming to the fold here as two U.S. sailors. You want to talk about espionage, you want to talk about high treason, you want to talk about shills and bought and paid for. Well, this is a story of the ages, but very familiar in the past 3 years. Now, two U.S. sailors now have been hit with charges that they tied to national security, giving secrets to China, more specifically the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. Well, the U.S. Department of Injustice, some might say, arrested two U.S. Navy sailors on national security charges relating to China on this past Thursday. Well, it's unclear whether the two cases are connected in any way. I mean, that'd be crazy to think so, but they were arrested for the espionage charge relating to the conspiracy to share intelligence with a Chinese expert who's actually from China. Well, an active duty sailor who goes by the last name of Wei, that's right, Wei, first name, I assume no, but USS Essex, an amphibious assault ship stationed at the naval base over there in San Diego. This is where he was giving high classified information to the CCP that could really put us in great peril. Oh, yes. And you think the news media would be a little up in arms about it, because this is a big deal when they're not CCP spies masquerading as professors. Well, now they're masquerading as sailors. What does this world come to? Tell us, CBS.
Today, we are announcing charges in the Central and Southern Districts of California against two active duty members of the United States Navy. Through the alleged crimes committed by these defendants, sensitive military information ended up in the hands of the People's Republic of China.
So today we heard from the U.S. Attorney's Office, the FBI, NCIS. The feds say two Navy sailors, one based in Los Angeles, the other here in San Diego, have been charged with espionage, giving sensitive information to an intelligence officer working on behalf of China. Now, according to the indictment, Navy sailor Jinchao Wei, also known as Patrick Wei, he's the one based in San Diego, was assigned to the USS Essex as a machinist mate. The feds say he had access to sensitive defense material. He was arrested on board the Essex yesterday. The feds say this all started back in February of last year. Wei is accused of sharing that sensitive information with an intelligence officer, again, working on behalf of China.
You don't really need a China expert to figure that one out. Okay, we're going to bring Cagney on here, and we're going to get her take on everything you just heard about, plus the planned riot hood that seems to be underway that started over the weekend in New York City that we covered for the weekend update. If you haven't seen it, find it at your local listings, check your TV guides. And if it's on YouTube, it doesn't stay there long for many mysterious reasons. But yes, there was a planned riot hood in New York City. They were giving away PlayStations by some of these Twitch all-stars. And I made the case that if it can start just like that in New York, don't you think Chicago's next? So I said, I need to call somebody about this. Who do I know in Chicago? So anyways, let's welcome to the show here, the one, the only, Detective Cagney. Detective.
Hi.
Good to see you. And let's talk about, well, we have a lot to talk about here. Where do I start? Because we'll kind of wind up with planned riot hoods, but let's get to the immediate dangers we're facing, according to many Chinese experts and many wartime industries here, as now Russia and China seem to be taking a carnival cruise to the Aleutian Islands in Alaska. Is this abnormal? Is this planned? Or is this part of the big nuke scare that James Martinez presented about a year ago now?
I don't think at all that this is anything new. I mean, we've been seeing this aggression not only from Moscow and China, but the U.S. has the same kind of aggression. They're doing the exact same thing near Taiwan. So they're ticked off because Russia and China is doing it back to the U.S. Now, they never entered the U.S. waters. So where's the aggression? They're just showing that, hey, we know what you did to us in the China Strait. And you're always bragging, the U.S. are always bragging that, you can do what you want, go where you want. And you're constantly patrolling around Taiwan, which is really, ticking off China. So why can't they do it right back? I mean, it's the same exact thing. I don't think it was really aggression at all.
Okay. Well, and this is coming at the same time right now in Australia. There are joint military exercises, with the United States and the Australian military somewhere near the northern end of that country by Magnetic Island. A lot of people said, well, it's going to be used to do their own insurrection that is very much needed in the land down under. But, when you look at it, they're preparing for a bigger conflict in the South China Sea, are they not, as Taiwan seems to be the next Ukraine?
Yeah, they definitely are. But we knew, and we said this a long time ago, that Putin and Xi were close and that they were going to join forces. And as we have said time and time again, the American military is just really nothing compared to what it used to be. I mean, anything that we had, any monies that we had that was going to the military, it's all been sent over to the Ukraine. So now, the U.S. has their pants down, and Russia and China are showing their power.
Usually that's what happens when one's pants are down. You show your
Yes.
power. And speaking of that, let's talk about the CCP who won't let me be, who's also spying on me. Now they have CCP sailors. This is a first. We're used to the fake soldiers, the fake cops, the CCP professors. Now they have sailors. I mean, what are they going to have? CCP florists next? I mean, what does this mean and indicate that we have such infiltration from the Far East that goes way beyond the just curtails of Hollywood as they bought the AMC channel? They're literally now in our United States military. Is this dire, or is this more of, oh, here we found something, this is why we have to have war with China? You see what I'm saying? It just seems very contrived in a very non-contrived way.
Well, especially because they're everywhere to begin with. So why is anyone surprised that they have infiltrated the military in the U.S.? I mean, we've said it forever now that they've been living amongst us for probably 30 to 50 years, and this is not a big shock. I mean, they're everywhere. That's why we said that if we go to war with China, they don't have to bring in anything through the water. They don't have to do it through the air. They've already got people on the ground. The people have been here forever. They're just masquerading as Chen's local Chinese laundry on the corner. I mean, this is not a surprise at all. So
yes, right.
It's in the military. Okay, fine. Yeah, it's everywhere.
Now kind of as the Ukraine seems to be, last summer's kind of blockbuster that was kind of a flop. Yes, I feel the posturing going towards Taiwan, but also I feel a little bit of the credence and popularity seems to be gaining back to Russia ever so slightly, because the Ukrainian president, Volodymyr, Europe's favorite drag queen, he's such a deadbeat. So by default, you can only look better than him. But now, on top of that, we're getting word that Putin has not only given grains and plenty of bushels of food to places like Somalia, but I believe he is getting rid of the 5G all over Russia.
Definitely. And the reason he's getting rid of the 5G is because he is concerned about his people. And everybody who's listening to this should be concerned if they're near a 5G tower. And they are everywhere. And his concern is that 5G, I think there's been numerous deaths to children that are living near the 5G towers in different parts of Russia. And he doesn't want people to get sick because of it and die because of it. So he's taking them all down. Well, maybe we have something to learn from that our government should be taking it down and standing up for its people as well.
Yeah, I mean, you make sense. That seems to be the problem here. Let's now transition to the politics here, because you're in Chicago. Chicago has been a Democrat stronghold since I can remember. But now some of the echoes I'm hearing from a lot of the democratically controlled areas and their constituents are, hey, who are these migrants? And why are they taking our, government cheese, our hotels, motels, but let's call it hotels? Who are these people? We didn't vote for this, but then again, we did, but we didn't read the fine print because, why would we read? What is the consensus on the ground over there that you're picking up in Chicago?
Well, they're not just in hotels and motels. They actually have them camping out in the actual police stations. So these cops are trying to go to work, and they've got migrants all over the place, and, air mattress. And mind you, they're not little cots that people are on anymore. They've got queen size air mattresses blown up for these people everywhere. And again, not many women and almost no children. It's all men that are sitting in these precincts getting fed, getting given money, getting transportation. I don't know. I think this is just going to be something that's going to spark more riots here.
Right. It seems to be a problem when it's raining men and they happen to be military age. I agree with you on that. Well, here's something here. I want to sticking with Chicago and transitioning, but not that one, to Planned Riot Hoods. Well, this happened just over the weekend.
Large crowd here. We're hearing estimates of thousands and thousands of people who showed up, and clearly NYPD is vastly outnumbered in the situation.
Stefan, I don't want to interrupt you for one quick second right now, because you're looking at live pictures of a car that was literally covered with people, and we do believe that that was the vehicle that had Kai Cenat in it, which you can see now looked as though could have been leaving the area. That is why you're seeing that crowd there chase after. That's it. That's the vehicle right there that they believe Kai Cenat is in right now. As Safan was saying, he was there. He was in the crowd for a little bit of time, but clearly this was an out-of-control crowd.
Clearly, this was an out-of-control crowd, Cagney, that we just saw there, and thank God she articulated that, and I had no idea what I was looking at. Let's talk about this now, and let's get real here, because we know that major riots, when they do spark, they start in the inner cities, as, per 2020 told us. However, I think this time they want to get to the suburbs outside of the city limits. How close are we to seeing another one of these riots take place in Chicago? Because Chicago is full of tension, and don't I know it?
Well, it happens every weekend. It's not shocking here. I mean, it's been going on for years, ever since Lightfoot took over. We've had a lot of riots that take place. And they don't call them riots, according to our new mayor here in Chicago. It's, come on. It's just teens just trying to have fun. But the crime spree that is spreading from that, so there's not riots in the suburbs, but there is a massive amount of crime spree. Now, they know this because one of the safest districts in Chicago is on the northwest side, and the northwest side is riddled with having all cops and firemen, and then obviously some other kind of city workers that live up here, because it's the furthest northwest point you can get in Chicago, still being in Chicago before you hit the suburbs. Now, you would think that if somebody's going to try to break in houses or cars or whatever, they wouldn't pick this area, because every other house is either a cop or a fireman or whatever, and most of them have concealed carry, blah, blah, blah. But yet, the amount of crime that is happening in the northwest part of Chicago is actually shocking. And the sad part of it is because there's so much rioting going on in the city and on the southwest and the east side of Chicago, the patrol in this district is minimal. I mean, I think they have like seven squad cars.
And aren't the cops told to turn the other cheek and look away?
Yeah, you can't do anything. You can't chase anybody. You can't do anything. So, I mean, call the police and call them to do what?
Okay, so the new mayor of Chicago, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. I don't know who Lightfoot is. You mean Lori Stankfoot, this creature here from the woods. Yes.
Yep.
How can you possibly be worse than Lori Stankfoot? And what do you mean by that? In which ways is she worse? Because I'm very curious now.
It's a he, and he's worse because he will not prosecute anything at all. Okay. And he makes excuses saying that it's just kids, and kids are just trying to have fun. When they're jumping on cars and they're rushing and breaking the windows of people that are driving in downtown Chicago, elderly people, whatever, going to the theater, and their cars are getting broken with people in there. Right. These people are scared, but the police can't do anything because, after all,
police can't do anything.
Teens just want to have fun.
Teens just want to have fun, and Cagney, I thought I saw you in the crowd, so you're careful. You might be caught. Anyways, we're running out of time for this segment. Cagney, thank you for being here, and thank you for patrolling the streets of Chicago and keeping us safe.
Thanks, Dean, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, yes, very soon. Okay, thank you very much. Good night. All right, there it is, the one, the only Cagney, everybody.
So there's not riots in the suburbs, but there is a massive amount of crime spree.
This lady on the plane told me to go screw myself and all kinds of stuff, and because I wouldn't wear a mask. Here she comes right behind me. She's flipping me off and everything. Getting violent with me as I left the plane. I love it. I love the zombies. Just a whole scene there. Oh, there's my favorite woman. Now we can talk. What were you saying to me on the plane? What were you saying to me on the plane? You were flipping me off? Wait, come on, you're on my show. I want to make you famous. Can I buy you a drink? Can I buy you lunch? What's your name? I thought you told me to go f*** myself because I wouldn't wear a mask because I don't buy in the hoax, right? Because the CDC fudges the numbers. Oh, you just kicked me. You just kicked me right there. Oh man, I'm not going to press charges because I'm not afraid of heroin addicts. That's right. Come on, kick me again. Kick me again.
Did you say I was a heroin addict?
Oh, kick me. Kick me right in my brass nuts. Come
Why
on.
would you say I'm a heroin?
Kick me. Kick me.
Why are you such an asshole?
I'm sorry.
What's your problem?
I don't have a problem.
Yes,
I
you
got
do.
solutions.
You are,
I got solutions.
and what's the
You
solution
just hit
today?
me.
What is the solution?
Why, I offered to buy you a drink.